right, so today on the Pursuit of Happiness podcast, I have Adam and Kathryn of the Adventures of A plus K. So thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I'm super pumped to have you guys.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for having
much.
me.
We're so excited to be here.
That's awesome. And so the funny story was just a few weeks ago, I decided to plan a trip to Idaho. I've been sitting in quarantine for about 4 or 5 months now, and I'm seeing my flight points just kind of rack up, and it's like, where do I want to go? And also, where do I want to go that I don't feel like I need to keep going into public places?
Yeah.
And, I said, maybe Idaho. And the first thing I did was, what's in Idaho? So I literally turned on YouTube and I was like, okay, so what's there to do in Idaho? And your video pops up that you just took a week ago. I was like, wow, this is absolutely perfect. And I saw it, I fell in love, and I asked you guys a question, and immediately you responded. And then I went down your rabbit hole on YouTube, and I was like, who are these people? And you've been to so many cool places. Not only that, you do a hell of a job with your videos, your photography. It's so professional. You guys look like you have so much fun. And it just kind of clicked. And I said, you know what? These are the exact people that I want to interview in my podcast. You guys took a leap to do something that makes you happy. And you can tell you're genuinely happy. And from the videos and your website and everything, you guys are super relatable and you're very inspiring. And since I've found your videos, I've been watching them, and I've been watching more of your Idaho ones, and you've literally influenced my trip where I'm going. And that will not be the only time you ever influence a trip of mine. I can promise you that. So without further ado, I'd like to kind of get into how you both got started into traveling so much. Give us your background a little bit.
Well, first off, thank you.
Yeah, that was ridiculously nice. And,
I'm like, how do I even? I'm like, I just can't stop smiling. That was just so sweet and nice. Honestly, like all we could ever hope for. And whenever someone comes to us and like, I'm going to this place and I just randomly found your video and I'm going next week, nothing makes us happier than when we have good timing. So yeah, Idaho's great too. We can talk about Idaho more in a bit if you want, because it's definitely one of our favorite places, but you're in for a treat. It's a great place to go.
That's
not
awesome.
That busy. I feel like people that live there might be mad that we're sharing how great it is, but hopefully it won't get busy, but it's just incredible.
That's awesome. I feel like it's slept on. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. 100%. We've had so many people in the past couple weeks since those videos came out say, I have never once thought about going to Idaho, and now I really want to go. And that's really our goal. And we especially love sharing places that are less loved or maybe underrated. We get the most excited about sharing those places because we truly believe that the U.S. is full of so many diverse, beautiful, incredible places. And a lot of people just tend to think they need to travel abroad to experience such gorgeous places, but we have so much here. And so we're just so excited to share those underrated gems, I guess you could say, with others.
And truth be told, if you would ask us 3 years ago to go to Idaho, we probably would have said no.
I mean, we like potatoes.
Yeah,
So.
And that's about it, right?
Yeah.
And then, I feel like, I could be completely wrong here. It reminds me somewhat of a mini Iceland, looking at your videos with waterfalls and lava fields. I'm like, wow, this state has everything.
They seriously do. They seriously do. Yeah. Anything you could want except for, I guess, the beach. But they have really nice lakes there. So you can kind of get that, like, beachy vibe, I guess. But, yeah, it truly has everything. And the people are so friendly. We could talk all podcast
about Idaho. Then how about maybe after I go to Idaho, we can come back and do an Idaho.
Yeah, we can do a whole Idaho episode.
We can do that. But, all right. So right now you are in the famous van that we see on your website, which is awesome. Looks just like a house from here. So explain exactly where you are now, where you just were, and where you're heading.
Yeah.
So right now we're in Issaquah, Washington, which is about 20 minutes-ish east of Seattle. And the last couple of weeks we've been in the Northwest Seattle area, exploring the national parks, Mount Rainier, Olympic. We went to North Cascades, all three in Washington. When we lived here, actually a few years ago, we've explored all these places. So this is kind of one of our happy places. We love coming back here and exploring all
And
these
eating.
places and eating.
Yeah.
Eating all of our favorite foods.
Yeah.
So we've just been kind of laying low the past couple weeks here, just eating, seeing a couple friends safely, of course.
Yeah.
Seeing all of our favorite sites, hiking, and just, we just feel at home here. So even though we left, we still just love coming back here.
Yeah, this was our first big destination or milestone to get to, I guess, after the quarantine. I mean, we made our way up from Texas through here, stopping along the way, Idaho, New Mexico, stuff like that. But yeah, we were really excited to get back here.
So are you both from Texas?
Yep.
Kind of.
Well,
Kind of.
I was born in Arizona, but I lived the majority of my life in Austin. So I guess I'm not like a born and raised Texan, but I lived there long enough that I think I can
You can call yourself a Texan.
Yeah, Texan.
yeah, I was born and raised in Houston, Texas, and then we met in Austin at University of Texas, and we're kind of. I was on my way out of the university; she was on her way in, I guess. And
so we met at a job.
Yeah, we met at a burger place.
We were
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yep.
So,
love over the burgers and the fries.
Yep.
So I'm super interested, like as a single solo person, I have a passion for travel. If I want to go travel, I travel. Whereas you two seem to have that together. Is that something that you found out immediately? Did one have it before the other? How did that work?
So growing up, I never really traveled much. And then, so when I was graduating college, I wasn't ready to do a real job. I wanted to be a teacher, but I wasn't ready. And I was graduating in December, so it's not really the best time to look for teaching jobs. And so I was like, well, what if I just do some traveling? And I went to like a teacher job fair type deal, and I didn't talk to any employers about teaching. I talked to this guy about traveling to Australia, where they like set you up with a job and a phone and a place to live and all this stuff. So I was like, cool. And so a few months later, I signed up for that and went over there in.
That was like July of 2012.
Yeah, and so and the funny thing is, I get there and they gave me a phone, but they didn't give me a job. So I had a few $100 left, and worked a few jobs while I was there. And I was there. I planned on staying for a year, and then I was kind of getting homesick. And this is when we were first starting to talk a lot. And then I cut it down to 6 months, and then after a little bit longer, I cut it down to 3 months, and I came home that October. That was like my first big trip, I guess, on my own.
That's a big trip.
Yeah. And so I just kind of realized that solo traveling isn't really for me. I like experiencing a place with someone.
Right.
So came back and
yeah, so we had just first started dating right before he left. So we didn't really know what was going to happen with the future. And obviously it worked out well.
Yeah.
But
right, obviously.
I was not an adventurous person growing up at all. My parents keep joking, like I did not like being outside because of bugs. So I didn't hike. I didn't really do anything. Growing up in Arizona, I know we did some hikes as a family. And then when we moved to Texas, we would do some trips maybe to like Orange Beach in Alabama or Destin, or going to see family up in Indiana. But we didn't really travel a ton growing up. So I had never left the country until I guess we went to Puerto Rico, but that's kind of the US, so that doesn't fully count. So both of us didn't really grow up with like a huge like traveling background. But when we started dating, and even when we got married, we just started wanting to travel and experience things more. And I guess I got over the whole outdoors thing clearly, but I mean, I live in a van now, so I've changed a lot. But yeah, when we got married and then when we moved to Seattle, that was kind of the big turning point for us. We wanted something different, and we wanted to be outdoors more and, not be in 100-degree summers. So we moved to Seattle, and that's when we, road tripped every weekend. We were never home. We were always either hiking in Washington, in Oregon, or up in Canada, and just seeing as much as we possibly could. And not to like, I guess, tell our whole story right now, but eventually we just were like, we don't want to just be stuck doing this on the weekends or be, stuck in one place and only able to explore that area, which led to us wanting to, travel full time, which kind of led to the van. And we can talk more about how that all happened. But
of course,
yeah, it's kind of been a progression together. I feel like we've both went from not traveling a ton to like having this now common passion of travel, and it's just grown together with us.
If you look back, could you pinpoint a moment, or was it just like everything all together just got added up and said, I want to keep doing this?
So I think when we moved up there, you know, like she said, we traveled every weekend. We had bought a new car and we put 30,000 miles on it in a year. We were gone every weekend hiking and all kinds of stuff, Oregon, Washington. But I would say along those couple years that we lived there, it was all kind of building up. And I guess if there's like one turning point, I guess specifically for the van and traveling like full time, would be Labor Day weekend right before school started, the
2018.
We took a trip to Crater Lake, right?
Yeah, Bend and Crater Lake in Oregon.
And we were driving down there and we were thinking like, man, we really want to do this more, you know. And I guess one of the goals was for her to find a remote job so that we could travel more in the summer, because I was teaching, so we could travel all summer, you know. We wouldn't be tied anywhere. And so we were driving down there and we were thinking about all of our options, like we could get a truck and like pull a trailer. We could get like a teardrop thing. We could get an RV. We could get a van, and that's kind of what we landed on, was a van. And then we had to think about like, are we gonna like buy one that's already ready to go? Or are we gonna build it? Or are we gonna explore all of our options? And so yeah, I think that was like the turning point, and especially for me because I love like teaching and I coach sports as well. And I was just kind of getting, I guess, disinterested in like the daily life of a teacher. I love coaching sports, but teaching kids, that they're excited to be there. Some of them are, and some of them are not, to put it nicely.
I coach Little League. I'm familiar. Half the kids want to go home.
With sports, I can tell the kids that don't want to be there to go home, but during school, I can't. So yeah, I was getting kind of burnt out on the teaching aspect, and so I was honestly ready to quit like right before school started.
He's like, can I just quit now? And I'm like, no, we have to save money to get this van that we want. And I had just gotten the remote job. I was actually starting just a couple of days later, but at that point, the goal was just to travel more in the summers when he was off. But then that weekend was kind of our big turning point, where we were like, we're going to do this van thing. We're going to travel all around North America. And a big factor with the van and how we are traveling is because we have a dog named Kona, who she can't go on airplanes. She's too big, and logistically that would be hard. So for us, the only way to really travel full time would be to have her with us. And so that's kind of how we landed on the van. And then, from there it was like, okay, well, what do we need to do to actually make this happen? And so it was a lot of planning. That was, I guess, around early September. And then we bought the van end of that January. Yeah. So we had some time to like make sure we really wanted to do it.
Right.
And we never wavered on that at all.
No.
From the get-go, we were like, we told our parents that weekend, or we told my parents at least, like, hey, we're going to buy a van and we're just going to travel. And they were like, okay, cool. And I was like, Dad, will you help us build it? And he's like, I guess. So we kind of from there just started planning how we were going to make it happen, basically.
Now you just said you didn't waver at all. Have you wavered on any of this? Because you sound pretty confident that this is what you wanted to do for quite some time.
No.
I mean, honestly, the build part was not fun at all.
I saw the video. It seems like a lot of work.
Yeah, it was stressful. I mean, obviously a lot of work and a lot of research, like what's the best product to pick and all this kind of stuff, and how do you actually do it and things like that. And
flying back and forth from Seattle to Austin.
We weren't even living there when we were building it. We were flying back and forth a lot, and we obviously would not have been able to do it without her dad's like major help. So that's
shout out to Dad.
Yeah, but I mean, any like second guesses or definitely not regrets, but like
I don't think we've had any.
No, I mean, we like spent a lot of time thinking about the things we wanted and needed in here, and realistically like what we would use and wouldn't use. And we kind of planned it like perfectly of how we wanted it to be. And so there's nothing that we're missing or wish we would have done differently. So honestly, no.
Even like our worst days in the van where everything's going wrong, and we have lots of those. We've had a few more recently. Things are definitely harder being back on the road now with COVID. Even on those bad days, we're never like, we want to quit the van. If anything, we want, maybe we'll go take a little break somewhere. Like we're going to go spend some time for like a week and a half, 2 weeks with family in the next month or so, just to kind of recharge a bit, have steady Wi-Fi, laundry, those things. But for us, we've never once been like, the van's not for us anymore. We don't want to travel full time. If anything, we get overwhelmed by how much we want to travel more, and we just want to do more, but we can't because we're limited on time and resources and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things in the van we probably want to change, but the lifestyle in general and like what we do day to day, we're all in.
And we love it.
Yeah, taking that trip your first trip in that van must have been just the most rewarding thing ever.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we had a huge not electrical, but a wiring issue.
We still had work to do on it.
We discovered we had a wiring issue when we were in Jackson, Wyoming, and we were trying to take a shower and our hot water heater would not turn on and things were not working right. And we couldn't get our stove to work. Mm-hmm. So our first month in the van was like kind of rough. Like we had a lot of surprises. We had to drive back down to Austin actually to fix some stuff because we didn't feel confident doing it ourselves. But despite that, it was like the best month ever. Yeah. Even to this day, probably our best month on the road, just because we were so excited to finally be out there doing it. So we were like, cold showers, be damned.
Yeah. So one thing that I've always asked myself, and I know I'm not the only one, when we run into Instagram accounts like yours and you see the beautiful photos and the constant traveling, it's like, how in the world do they do that? To me, it sounds like you actually planned this out. This wasn't just I'm going to wing it. It took months, if not years, of planning and figuring out and being on the same page and preparing yourselves for this. Would you agree to that?
Yeah. I mean, if we did put a lot of planning into it and everything, but honestly, if someone was wanting to get into it, you could really just get some kind of van and put your basics in there, a bed and a cooler and stuff. You can make it as simple as you want, but we were really planning on doing this. I mean, at this point right now, if you ask us, we want to do it as long as possible.
Yeah.
So we really tried to put in a lot of thought and a lot of planning into what we have and then where we want to go.
And I'm a very, very much a planner.
Yeah.
I mean, van life has it's forced me to be more adaptable and flexible and spontaneous because a lot of things don't go according to plan.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But for me, I'm a planner. I'm very like goal oriented, and I don't ever want us to get in a situation where, financially we're in trouble, safety wise we're in trouble. So there's a lot of planning that's gone into all of this and just thinking of everything we need for us to work on the road and everything. So yeah, I mean, it took a lot of planning and work to even get to this point. And that's something that we try to be like honest about with people. Yeah. But, you see all of the photos and the videos of all the fun. Right. And you don't necessarily know what all goes into having those experiences. And it's a lot of work. I mean, our original goal was to help people plan trips easier because, that can be an overwhelming process. Mm-hmm. But our entire life is like, we don't have any stability really. Yeah. So every day of our life is we try to plan it out. Like, where will we go work today? Like, what park are we going to park at? Where are we sleeping? Where are we doing our laundry? How am I going to upload this video without using all of our hotspot data? There's so many different things we have to think about every single day that makes this lifestyle a lot more difficult than people might think.
And it looks great on Instagram and everything, like you mentioned. But we do try to make an emphasis of sharing like some of our struggles.
Yeah. I mean, we slept at a Walmart the other day. It happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I will say to our listeners, go to your website. We'll give you all the information in the link, and we'll talk about that later. But your website has the ups and the downs. You go behind the scenes. Your videos are awesome. This is our first time talking, but I feel like I've known you guys now for a while, and you guys do a great job with that, which is why you guys are so relatable. So
yeah, I'd like to share more of like the things that go wrong on the vlogs, but to be honest, we were just talking about this the other day. Like, sometimes we get so frustrated at that moment that no one wants to see that side of us. And we're like, we'll maybe like just stop filming for the day. And we've done that. But yeah, what we can show without looking like monsters, we will.
So speaking of like filming, how did it go from traveling and taking these adventures to actually putting yourselves out there online and social media? Where did that jump begin?
Yeah, so I guess our blog started, I think it was July 2015. We went to Disney World and Universal with my best friend and her in-laws and her family. We kind of just crashed their family trip. And I kind of planned a lot of it. I was coordinating like the fast passes. And
that matters. That in Disney World, that matters.
And we were going to 4th of July timeframe, vacation mode. So I did a lot of planning, and the trip went so smoothly that I felt I should write this down and share this with someone. So I wrote down I created the blog, and I wrote down all of my tips for Disney and everything, and then from there it kind of morphed into like travel diaries, just literally like word vomiting everything we did every second of the day on a trip. And then over time, we moved to Seattle then. And we started sharing on Instagram a lot of our adventures. And then that kind of morphed into writing like travel guides on our blog. This has all been kind of within the last few years or so that we've been like writing more like useful content, not just here's what we did at this exact second. And then we started our YouTube channel November, I think we launched it November 2018. Yeah. But that summer before, Adam just decided to start a YouTube.
Yeah, well, we had been watching like some other YouTube channels of full-time travelers, and I was just picturing like down the road, if we're gonna make this into a thing, or even think about making it into a thing, like I think video is gonna need to be a big part of it. And so at the time, if you would have asked me why am I doing this, I would have been like, I don't know. This is never going to happen. So I don't even know why I'm booking our name on YouTube. And so, yeah, I just made an account for us on YouTube, and we let it sit there for a few months. And then
I don't even remember how we decided to actually do it. Yeah. I think we just enjoyed watching other people's travel vlogs. Like we stopped watching regular TV, even Netflix. We just solely pretty much watched YouTube at night, every night. Yeah. And we were like, well, we love helping people plan trips through our blog and our travel guides. And like this could kind of replace all of those like travel diaries. Instead of me writing out everything we did and making guides, we'll make written guides, and then we'll also film our adventures to kind of show more of like what the actual trip looks like for us. Because I mean, we do have things go wrong, and that helps influence how we direct people and guide them in the future. So yeah, I don't know. We started filming stuff around like the Pacific Northwest and then Hawaii, and then Mexico City, and then things just kind of started snowballing, and we're like, well, I guess we'll stick with it. And
kept up with it.
We've had moments where we wanted to quit it
several times.
Yeah.
People are mean, and sometimes it's really stressful to film, and we'll have moments where we're like, we just want to enjoy this. We don't want to be like trying to film it. But we've stuck with it, and I think we're committed now.
We're on a good roll right now.
Yeah.
I wondered that. Like, is there any moments that you just want to turn it off and just kind of be by yourselves?
No, we went to Hawaii with her family.
The Big Island this
November. And we were gonna film a few days of our trip, and the first day, like we were just trying to film the intro of the very first video, and it was just so difficult. Like sometimes I just like get in my head and I like start stumbling on my words, and I just can't get out what I need to say, and it's very frustrating. And it's just like she's just thinking like, just say it. It's not hard, you know what to say. But,
she's got the gift of gab.
Well, she does. I mean, she'll say that. But,
I mess up.
Yeah, but anyway,
we all do.
Of time it's me that starts the stumbling, and so we just couldn't get it going, and we were so frustrated. And it was one of those moments where it should not be on camera.
I think that makes you more relatable, though. Honestly, when everyone posts the perfect pictures, the perfect video, you kind of know it's fake at some point too. You know?
Yeah. I mean, there's some parts that we definitely like kind of script out, like the intros mostly. We like want to start the video on a solid foot and then kind of just let the day go.
Yeah.
But yeah, we stopped filming and we're like, we're quitting YouTube. And we even texted, we even texted our friends who also have a YouTube channel. And I was like, well, things are going bad. We're quitting YouTube because we want to enjoy this trip, and things are not going well. And we feel bad, like making my parents wait around, and they were always super understanding of it. But then like the day went on and we were like,
time heals everything.
We were like,
exactly.
We really wanted to film this trip, and we don't want to quit.
Like we're doing a lot of cool stuff here. Like
so the next day we started filming. We filmed the whole rest of the trip, and it went a lot better. And we've never actually told anyone this besides the friends and my parents. Like no one else really knows that we tried to quit YouTube that trip. But you know, it happens. And for us, like we're juggling so much all of the time that we go through phases where like we're in a really good groove, but then we have phases where we're completely overwhelmed and we're so stressed out that the littlest things kind of set us off, and then we're just exhausted, to be honest. And we've kind of been going through that the last couple of weeks. We didn't film very much while we were in Washington because we just needed a break, to be honest. And we're trying to learn how to balance life better because we love filming YouTube videos, but with our other responsibilities and all the other things we have to do and spend a lot of time on, it can be hard. So balance is key for us. We're trying to get better at it. But yeah, we have our other moments.
So talk more about that. So, you know, you like you said, you show the glorious life of traveling and whatnot, but behind the scenes, you guys are both working to bring an income to do this. And you're trying to balance work, life, travel, all that stuff. So tell me a little more about that, how you do that every day.
So right now, so like I said, I taught for a few years, and that year that I quit, I had a few more months left of my teacher salary. They pay you through the summer. So that was nice to kind of keep us afloat while we got started in van life. And so then from there, I decided to start kind of a web design business. And so that's kind of what I'm working on right now to a degree. And then I have a few other things going on right now. And she has a corporate 9-to-5 job that she works, full time.
Yeah, it's a fully remote company. It's more like a 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. job. We have people all over the world, and I work with a lot of people in Europe, and they're super flexible. So I work typically 6 a.m. to 3 a.m. with like a 1 hour break to work out. Or no, I don't know what I said. 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. with like an hour break to work out, or I don't know, take a break or whatever. And then I work on editing videos, writing content, and until bedtime. So we're pretty much working like 6 a.m. to like 9 p.m. straight every day.
Wow.
Between all of the jobs. And then on the weekends too, I mean, we try to film very early in the morning, and we've been trying to stop earlier because we tend to go all day and then we're exhausted. So we're trying to film like sunrise to like lunchtime mostly. And then we just work the rest of the day on like editing and stuff. But Adam's, sorry,
kind of throughout the history of our online things, it's 90+% been like all her, like of creating everything and doing all the work, writing the blogs, planning the vlogs, and then editing it and posting it and everything. So right now, and so she's basically doing that all the time, and I kind of do like the day-to-day like chores, like I handle the laundry, the dishes, and cooking and all that stuff. To kind of keep us afloat and living, I guess. And I drive most of the time. She does offer.
I offer to drive, but he drives and I just am working in the passenger seat.
That's a good trade-off.
Yeah, we're just kind of settled into that role, and it works for us right now. But I bring that up because we're trying to find, since I don't have a full-time thing that I'm dedicated, solely responsible to, we're trying to find ways for me to work in more of the content creation and things like that. Like I'm managing the website, and we're getting our finances kind of more in line for building our business.
You writing more blogs, and like outlining stuff.
So
because I mean, we're, to be honest,
balance it a little bit better.
We're filming more than we've ever had before, and so in the past I was able to juggle it better, but now I'm just editing pretty much nonstop. And we love writing content too, and our website's actually like our biggest source of revenue from Adventures of A+K. In terms of, we have ad revenue on our website. And so that's what makes us, I guess, the most money, but it's what we're focusing the least on now because the YouTube thing, like consistency is key. Right. So I'm like cranking out vlogs and stuff, but that's kind of on the back burner. So he's been helping a lot with that. So we're still trying to figure it out. I mean, I guess the moral of our story is it's a lot of work and it's really hard, and juggling it all is exhausting, but we love doing the Adventures of A+K stuff. And we just know that in this like phase of life, we're going to just have to juggle things, and it's going to be hard at times. But as we see things grow and, we make connections with people and people send us nice messages, and like, we know we've helped people plan trips, it's worth all the hard work and the stress at times.
I can tell you have a passion for it. And there has to be something rewarding too about posting all these videos and being able to look back and kind of relive that. You have all your memories.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
60 years now, later on, to see all this stuff again, that'll be really cool.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
It's hard to comprehend right now, but it'll be cool.
Yeah, we're really excited. We're so happy we're doing the YouTube thing. It has its challenges, and both filming wise and internet trolls and all the things that come with it. But
unfortunately,
it's just an awesome thing to be able to look back on one day, even if no one watched them. Just knowing that we could watch them later is super cool.
Well, I will say, like I said, I watched one a week ago, and today I have you on a podcast. So that's how much you've influenced me already. That's pretty great. And I love, me too. Seriously, me too. And I love the fact that you travel with your dog, Kona, because having 2 dogs of my own, I love taking these adventurous trips and getting these photos. And I always say, I really wish I had my dogs in these photos. Super cool that you guys get to do that. I know traveling with a dog is obviously somewhat stressful. It's something that I've done myself just on road trips, but can't fly with them. Flying with them is an issue. just for people who have dogs, like what are some of the kind of issues that you have with traveling with Kona?
It's so funny because this has been the most popular question lately. I guess because maybe, I don't know, we've been showing her more in videos. So people have been noticing more when she's not in the videos. So people keep asking, like, where is she? So we're writing up a blog post now with like everything that we can share, I guess, about what we do with her, out, you know, all the things you have to consider traveling with a pet. But yeah, there's a lot of considerations. I mean, for us, like the number one thing is making sure Kona's safe. You know, she can't speak to us in English and be like, I'm too hot, or like,
I wish, right?
Yeah, I wish. So for us, like we plan our entire route over or around weather and the climate, just to make sure that at any time Kona would be safe if we left her in the van. So we have days where it's warmer and we're in the van with her and we know we're all hot and we keep the doors open if we can, but we basically make every single decision with Kona in mind. So it makes things harder. Like we cannot be as flexible. We cannot go everywhere. But we're really happy we have her.
Yeah, I mean, it just takes kind of a bit more extra planning. I mean, if we're doing a long distance thing, we've got to really think about where we're going to stop, and hopefully there's rest stops there or places that we can stop to let her out, stretch her legs. And then national parks is kind of tough. You know, dogs aren't really allowed there outside the parking lot usually.
Right.
So those, we just have to build in some other things, whether it's like boarding her, which is tricky in its own.
So Kona's kind of a difficult dog. She probably is like, she has a lot of behavioral issues. She went to like a 7-week board and train program last summer, and we've seen a lot of improvements, but she's not like an easy dog we can just hand over to anyone. So for us, you know, we have to, whenever we can't bring her with us, we have to think about, okay, well, what are our options? Like, are we going to be gone for 12 hours? Okay, well, we need to probably find a sitter, which can be a problem with just making sure someone's comfortable with any of her issues. You know, we were at Mount Rainier a couple weeks ago. We went on hikes, but like we came back into the van between every hike and like hung out with her, let her out, just relaxed with her a bit, and then we'd go back out and do something else, which people don't always see. So it might look like we're leaving her for like 12 hours on end, but we kind of know just from living in Seattle in our apartment when we worked in offices or at a school, how long we could leave her successfully. And so as long as the weather's okay and we feel safe where we're at, you know, we will leave her in the van. But if that's not an option because of temperature or how long we want to be gone, you know, we'll get an Airbnb, and which has its benefits for us too. We get like Wi-Fi and laundry.
Right.
So, you know, we'll get an Airbnb or a sitter, but it's pretty much every time we want to go do something, we have to like look at what the weather will be like and how long we'll be gone and what are our options if we can't leave her in the van. So it makes everything a little bit more complex, but we love having her with us and we try to take her as much as we can. Sometimes, to be honest, we just need a break. Like we're with her 99% of the time, all day during the week. So on the weekend, sometimes we're like, we just need like a date. We're just going to go out on a date and go for a hike.
Get a babysitter.
Yes.
Yeah. But even when we do bring her, we have to think about a lot of things too, because she's reactive to a lot of things. I mean, kids running up to us, something like that, thinking she's cute and all that. Other dogs, bikes, rollerblades. We're basically like on the lookout, you know, just trying to keep her in her like safe bubble type deal. So and then so if we're gonna take her on a hike or something, we've got to read reviews and think about like, well, first, are dogs allowed, and then do people say there's a lot of off leash dogs running around type thing. So it's just got a lot of looking ahead and thinking about issues that we might run into if we do bring her. So
it's a lot to think about planning a trip for you and the dog as well. I completely understand that. So knowing that you take care of Kona, pretty much the first thing when you get somewhere, like what are some other things when you arrive someplace that is like your ritual? Do you have like the first few things you always do when you get to a place?
That's a good question. We kind of like get places random times sometimes. Like tonight we'll show up somewhere at like probably 8:30 or 9 p.m. and we'll just go to bed.
I love that you just said that. Tonight we'll show up someplace. Like that's so
I think it's gonna be a rest area, nothing glamorous, just off the side of the highway.
We don't have any kind of ritual type thing. I mean,
we're trying to have more of like a routine though, just like day to day. You know, we're trying to work out as much as we can and, you know, try to like plan our days better so we have more of like a normal life despite our like super non-traditional lifestyle, because it can be really hard to, you know, take good care of yourself and make sure you're not like falling behind on chores and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, our schedule's so random. Like we arrive places random times. We're in a parking lot of a park right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a struggle trying to balance like everyday things and not be in like vacation mode all the time. It's tough.
I could definitely see that. And so part of your YouTube channel is you eating delicious food
Yep,
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you find these places to eat? Like, what would you advise me to do when I go travel? How to find these places?
I typically, so sometimes we'll just like see stuff on Instagram and I'll save it for later.
Mhm.
But I do a lot of like Yelp, Google reviews, TripAdvisor research. I mean, I know sometimes it's not the best to go off of what other people have to say, but I trust people's reviews, and you can usually tell when someone just had a one-off bad experience and they're angry.
Right.
We read a lot of blogs and stuff. What we try to do is balance unique foods like to that region or that area, and then also just foods we really like ice cream, coffee, and tacos and barbecue. Those are kind of our things. So if we're going somewhere, we try to always look for good coffee shops, good taco places, ice cream, especially lately in the summer.
Yeah.
And then, we just look on Yelp, and we like to find places that are like the must visit, like super popular, like an institution. But we also really like finding those places that maybe don't have as many reviews, but they have tons of reviews. That's kind of how we found that place in Boise, sort of. The ice cream place called The Still in Boise.
I saw that and I'm going there. Thanks to you guys.
I recommend,
we're so upset that we did not buy a pint or two or three.
Get a pint. Noting that.
Yeah.
Come home, man.
Oh, we're so mad. But yeah, I mean, I just was looking, and there's, I think, a classic ice cream place in town that's more like an old school ice cream parlor. But then I found this place and like, oh, it's unique flavors and stuff, and read the reviews. And, I don't know. I mean, we try to find places that maybe not everyone's gone to, even locals, if we can. But we do like going to those popular spots too.
Okay. And now, so
narrowing it down.
So you guys have done a good job of like in the details of your trip, but now I'm kind of curious to know about some of your trips. I know you get asked this question all the time, and this can be for both of you. What's your favorite place you've been to? Like, what's the place that's calling you back, or just a place you can't wait to get back to?
Yeah, I mean, well, before the last couple of weeks, I mean, like we said, we lived here in the Seattle area, Pacific Northwest, so this place always calls us back. So we've been really pumped to be back here, and really enjoyed that. But we like to travel to Hawaii. I mean, we try to go every year. It's not going to happen this year, but we've been 5 times.
5 or 6 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we love Hawaii. It's probably our favorite place, I guess.
Yeah. People always like, why are you going back? I'm like, because we just love it so much.
Yeah, and then like we talked about earlier, Idaho, like that's calling us back. We can't wait to get back.
Yeah, we're actually going to Idaho again this weekend, but a different part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if someone were to ask me what's your favorite place in the entire world, the first, we say favorite a lot on our vlogs, this is one of the best, because to be honest, we're like super easy to please. We're not very critical. We try to be positive, and we just really like everything, I guess. But I think the first place that comes to my mind is the Dolomites in Italy. Like, if we would love to go back to Italy and explore more of the Dolomites, or just Italy in general. We just loved it there. International travel is really calling our name. That's obviously not possible at the moment.
Right.
We were supposed to go to Peru end of May, part of June. So that's calling my name, even though I've never even been there. I just know I'll love it. But yeah, I think the Dolomites is like, I don't know. It just combines everything we love, like the mountains, the beautiful lakes. I think we've learned, even though we love Hawaii, I think we're very big mountain people. I think if we had mountains or beach, I think we're more mountain, but we like when there's beaches nearby too.
Well, I can tell from your Instagram, and it's funny because I say calling you back, the Pacific Northwest where you guys are keeps calling me back. Honestly, I've been to Seattle twice. I've been to Vancouver, been to Whistler. I went to Banff last year. I was going to go Oregon this summer. That was my plan, but I squashed that. There's just something about the Northwest where you guys are right now. It's just, it's beautiful. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, people ask us, like, can you ever, like, whenever you want to settle down, where do you think it'll be? And we loved our time in Seattle. We didn't want to leave Seattle. We just wanted to have the freedom to be wherever. you know, we'd love to live in Seattle again one day. It's really expensive though. So, but I think we can only see ourselves living in the Pacific Northwest ever again.
Like the big secret about Seattle is everybody talks about the rain and stuff, but the secret is it's not really that much. It rains a lot more in Texas, like inches wise. It's just more often, and it's just drizzly, and it's not that bad. And
but I kind of miss it.
But yeah, but it's nice, and I mean, it's days on days on days of great weather, which, you know, it can get old, but the summers just like make up for it times 10. Because
that's good to know. I might get out there sooner than later.
I mean, it typically doesn't get that hot. I mean, right now it's like 80, which is, you know, perfect. So I mean, and then the nights get cool, like even during the summer. It's
we went to bed kind of warm last night, but we woke up with a blanket on. So it's something magical. And even with the rain and the fog, it just has this like moody, like magicalness. I know it gets old. I mean, there were times we were like kind of sick of it, but we still loved it. Like we never let it stop us. And like you're saying, Canada, I guess Idaho's considered the Pacific Northwest. Sometimes people consider Montana, but Oregon, Washington, they're all just so diverse. There's oceans, rainforests, mountains, lakes, like anything you could ever want is there. And we just seriously, we could stay here forever, but we also want to see new places too. So that's what makes it tricky.
And yes, speaking of Montana, I went to Glacier a couple years ago, and that place is calling me back. What a beautiful place!
I'm going next week. I'm so
Are
excited.
you really? Oh,
yeah,
man.
I took off some work, and we're gonna spend like 3 full days there. Part of the park's closed due to COVID, and one of the reservations that's nearby the east side of the park. So we'll have to go back, but I'm sure that will not be a hard decision. But we're very excited to go to Glacier. That's been, I'd say, U.S. bucket list item for us for years. We've just never made it happen. So we're doing it.
You have not gone there yet?
Oh, no.
I feel accomplished. I went to a place you haven't been. When I was there, it was a couple years ago, there was the forest fires, and I couldn't go on the Going to the Sun road.
Oh, wow.
Which maybe is okay because I have a fear of heights. So driving along that road would have made me nervous. But a hike that I did, if you want to know it, is Grinnell Glacier, which might be on the part that might be closed.
Well, I think maybe part, but you can see it from the other side. I think that's what we're going to try to do.
Okay.
Even a trail that we've been looking forward to for years, like it has too much snow still. So I don't even know what we're doing. Exactly.
Yeah, the Glacier in general has been, and the Going to the Sun road has been kind of the tripping point for us to go there over the last couple of years. And especially since we've been in the van, we wanted to go last year, right? But there's a length limit for your vehicle to go on this road, and our van is over it by 1.5 feet or 2 feet. So we're having to rent a car this time, and also obviously bring dogs. And so getting somewhere to keep her while we're there is it's farther away than like we couldn't go back and forth to go check on her during the day, so we're having to like really board her somewhere so that we can spend a couple days there and really enjoy it. So it's been like kind of a big hairball to get into. So
it's worth it. I cannot wait to see your pictures.
We're so excited, and we were just saying the other day, like, oh my God, there are no forest fires right now because that's been a thing almost every single summer. And we've had trips that have been impacted by forest fires, and we even talked about a while back, like if it's really bad, like do we still want to go? But I mean, so far, gonna knock on wood right now.
Things lining up right now.
So we'll see. I mean, we hear it's really busy there right now because everyone's going to the national parks, but we're early morning people, I guess. Not really we don't love it, but we do it. So
you're better than me.
We'll beat some crowds.
So how many national parks have you been to, and can you pin one down that you're like, yeah, this one was the best?
I think we've been to 25. I think Glacier might be our 26th one.
Wow.
And was your question our favorite one?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite? Do you have one that stood out? You're like, yeah, that one was awesome.
Questions are so hard.
Yeah.
I always first one that comes to my mind is Yosemite, because it just absolutely took my breath away. It was even smoky when we were there, and it was still just so incredible. I'd say Yosemite.
For me, Zion was really awesome. If that's what you're into with like the classic like American West type deal. but also what we were just at this past weekend, Olympic National Park, because it has everything. The diversity is crazy. Like there's beaches, there's rainforests, there's mountains, there's snow, there's everything.
In one park.
But and then also the most classic one probably is the Grand Canyon. That one's just awesome too. And
Yellowstone?
Yeah,
we could go on forever.
But the Grand Canyon, I just read like something fun to think about is I read recently that the Grand Canyon has the most like biodiversity of all the national parks. Basically, it has like similarities to like Canada, but it also has like similarities to Mexico, like all wrapped in one across the canyon. It's kind of cool to think about.
Wow. That's
I
crazy.
still don't understand how that happens,
Yeah,
but
it's
apparently it's true.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow. And so speaking of the Grand Canyon, I'm curious, have you been to Havasu Falls yet? Is that on your list?
No,
Bucket list
it's
item,
on
though.
there, yeah.
It's
I
so
can-
expensive.
Yeah.
Have you been?
Yeah, Ben. Yeah. What's expensive? What would you consider expensive about that?
So we had looked into trying to get permits with some friends this year, and then when we added up how much it was going to cost, I think it was going to be $800 for both of us.
Oh, wow.
Just to do the hike. Every year they're raising the cost,
Okay.
which is valid. It's becoming very popular, and it's on a reservation, I believe. And
Yep.
Yeah, you can't go right now. It's closed.
oh, is it?
Yeah.
So we were like, also we weren't sure if we'd be in Arizona around the time that we want to do it, but it is bucket list.
Yeah.
That and I want to hike up Half Dome. Those are kind of two
Yeah.
like US
Okay.
bucket list.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
You want to drive to Alaska too. That's another big item.
What was about Alaska?
You want to drive up there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that'd be a beautiful drive. If it's anything like Vancouver to Whistler, if it's
Oh,
anything
God.
like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is
So
awesome.
with Havasu Falls, I remember I called for 3 straight days nonstop to finally get in to a reservation. I almost freaked out when they answered the phone. I was like, oh my God, I did a double take. I was like, oh my God, yeah, what dates do I want? I don't know. But it was well worth it. It was one of those moments where you turn the corner and you see the blue waterfall and it's like, okay, this is real.
Not photoshopped.
Not photoshopped. So speaking of that, what would be do you have the most like jaw dropping moment or place where you just like was like, holy shit, this is amazing?
I almost cried in the Dolomites.
Yeah.
so pretty. In the US, for me, one place that really blew my mind, and I thought it was going to be overrated, and for us it personally wasn't, was Yellowstone.
Mhm.
I was mind blown by like the colors of these like hot springs, the
Geysers.
the hot springs, the geysers, all the geothermals.
The mud pots, yeah.
It just, the colors blew my mind. I was like, this is
Yeah, the
unlike
grand
anywhere
prismatic.
we've ever been in our entire lives. But Idaho, even, we were just talking like the Sawtooth Mountains, we knew they'd be beautiful, but just something about that place is somewhere that I'm like trying to convince my parents to buy a house there.
wow.
Like, I've looked into us getting a place there. It's very expensive, but it just took our breath away. Also, when we walked up to Box Canyon in southern Idaho, as we said in our vlogs, like if you didn't know some of these spots were there, you really wouldn't
You would
know.
just drive right
It's like,
past.
because it's flat, because like canyons like dip in, and so you
Right.
drive up like where is it? And then you look down and you're like, oh my God.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah. So our trip to Idaho really just stands out to us as a more recent thing where we were like, whoa.
I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah, and the Tetons too were
Yeah.
amazing.
Okay, awesome. I'm obviously taking notes here.
Yeah.
Now, so obviously we've talked about some highlights. Out of curiosity, has there any place you've been to that you felt like that was a little overhyped?
I mean, the only one that ever sticks out to me, I think it has like a love-hate relationship anyways with a lot of people is Las Vegas. But it comes with a caveat. I mean, we don't do a lot of the activities that are typical with Las Vegas, gambling and all that kind of stuff. So once I saw, the strip and the fun things you can do there, I'm one and done good there.
Mhm.
But the caveat is, on our most recent trip there was all the nature that's around it. There's like the Hoover Dam is nearby, the Red Rock
The Valley of Fire.
Valley of Fire. That stuff is incredible. So
And some of our favorite tacos in the world are in Vegas.
yeah. There's a taco place there that's
Tacos El Gordo.
it's top.
So good.
Now, didn't you go to Mexico City for a taco?
Oh,
Yeah,
mhm.
You guys are dedicated.
We're like, we want to go eat tacos, and we found cheap flights to Mexico
Yeah,
City, and so
yeah.
we went. But yeah, that place, Mexico City, I mean, to be fully honest, I was a little nervous. My mom was very nervous.
Yeah, I was too, yeah.
You hear things in the news, but then you hear from people like, don't believe the news. You don't know what to believe, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Every place has its sketchy areas and its safe areas. We had the best time in Mexico City, even though I had some ice cubes that made me extremely sick.
Oh, yeah, the water.
Don't ever have an ice cube there. But we had some of the friendliest people. They were such a stronger language barrier than we thought there would be. I guess we thought, being a larger city in Mexico, that there would be a little bit more English spoken there. We knew it'd be predominantly Spanish, but no one spoke English. So
wow.
Even despite that, like, people were very friendly to us.
While we were there, and then also when we got back and made all the videos from it, just overwhelmingly, they had been the nicest commenters ever on YouTube ever. They're like, "Oh, we're so happy to have you. Like, please come back. Like, yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed our country." Stuff like that. They were so
grateful that we enjoyed it, and and then the tacos were incredible. It was just such a cool place. So that's one place that we just had the best time going to.
That's calling me back too. Go back to that question.
Oh yeah.
Overrated though. I mean, I guess, like, we're not really Vegas people. I've gone there a lot for work, and I love walking around the strip and just seeing like all the different themes. I like themed towns. I like the cheesy kind of stuff like that.
Great people watching.
Yeah, but it's really not our kind of place. Like, we wouldn't actively choose to go there. So I guess that's kind of like our easy answer, because for the most part, we've enjoyed pretty much everywhere we've been. Some places more than others, but we tend to not have much negative things to say about a place.
Yeah.
So on that note, like, being traveling so much and having things go wrong and the schedule's constantly changing, what would you say so far of all these travels has been your most like, oh shit moment?
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, first of all was the time, like, our first trip out, we had those electrical problems. That was really tough. We had to we have a thing that is connected to the alternator in the engine that charges our batteries as we drive. So we have that, and then also solar that charges our batteries. So it was like 2:30 in the morning, and it was pretty dang cold outside, and we were woken up in the middle of the night with like our battery monitor and other things like beeping and screaming at us that the voltage is low, the batteries are dying, and all these things. So we had to get up in the middle of the night and just drive around the Tetons, just
in the dark,
trying to 2:30 in the morning, just trying to charge our stuff up. So that was kind of sucky.
That was probably like our biggest mishap we've ever had. Yeah, we've had like some like wildlife encounters that have kind of made us go like, what?
Yeah.
I had to like bleep out myself on a vlog when like a bison was coming towards us at Yellowstone. And
is this posted? Which one is this?
Yellowstone vlog. We're just talking. Right. We were so happy we caught this on camera, because it was like the most genuine reaction of all time. We're just walking and Adam's talking, like holding out our gimbal and stuff. And all of a sudden I go, oh, bleep, because like a bison coming at us. I mean, he's not running, but like, you hear the horror stories about bison.
Mm-hmm.
And then most recently in Salt Lake City, we went for a hike and it was still kind of dark out, and we're walking, we have Kona with us even, and all of a sudden I go, and Adam's like, what? I'm like, there's a moose.
Oh, wow.
And it was like staring at us. It was really close. So we just backed up and kind of waited to see where it was going to go. But yeah, and then we had this time in Missoula with some kids with some guns, and we weren't really sure like if it was real or not, and we're still not sure. And they were standing very close to our van, twirling these guns around, taking photos in front of our van, and we were in the van.
Oh God.
Just right outside the window.
They can't see us, I guess.
They can't see us see in. So yeah,
and
they're
we're
taking
like,
pictures. And
do we leave? Do we stay? Do they shoot us? Yeah, we still have no idea. It was the weirdest thing. But yeah, we've had some moments like that, but for the most part, I mean, it's like little inconvenient mishaps mostly. Like, we drive around all day, like, because we can't find good enough service, or we can't find, we forgot to get money out for the laundromat, so we have to like go do stuff like that, or the place we wanted to sleep at night's full, or it's really rough to get into. We have to figure out a plan B, and we don't have service to figure it out. It's like a lot of like little inconveniences, but at the time they feel like big inconveniences.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. Especially having jobs you always got to report back to, and having service and got to respond to emails and stuff. Yeah, I definitely get that. And when you
driving around,
when you said Missoula, I thought you were going to say something with a bear. Do you carry bear spray? What do you bring on you with you on these hikes?
Yeah, we have a bear spray. We're actually in need of a new one because we've had it for a few years and I think it's expired. And so
That's one of
here
our
this coming weekend, we're going to go buy a new one. And
for Glacier.
And actually, it's been kind of inconvenient because we just have the spray and we don't have the holster. And so we don't like really have anywhere convenient to put it. So if we ran into one, we haven't yet. Like I'd have to reach into her bag and figure out how to pop it open and all this stuff.
Which is what they don't advise that. They're like, have it readily available. We haven't figured out a good process. So we're going to buy a better one or one with a holster for Glacier because, you know, we hear that's bear country, not just the black bears, those grizzlies too. And I actually saw, so we've always said in our videos, we've never seen a bear. We've been to all the bear hotspots. We've been to Yellowstone, Grand Teton, Banff. We've been to a lot of places where people typically see a bear, at least on the side of the road while driving. And we've never seen one. We want to see it from the car. But it has happened, I guess, almost 2 weeks ago that we filmed on our phone afterwards. And we're going to put it in a vlog eventually whenever the topic of bears comes up. But we were driving to the North Cascades and Adam's driving. I'm in the passenger seat. We're crossing a bridge and I just like look over like at this river and at the rocks by the river and I see this like black thing on all fours and I'm like, oh my God, I think I saw my first ever bear, like not in a zoo, you know? And Adam, I was so upset because like, I don't know, we like experiencing things together and I was so sad because he didn't see it. So we like turned around and we tried to go find the bear in the van and we didn't find it. But yeah, so I'm trying to forget that happened so we can see our first bear together. But yeah, we carry bear spray if we're ever near bears. I mean, not every area has bears, so we don't always need to have it. It is a good safety thing just to kind of have. I mean, I guess there's another scary animal. We've been trying to get better about like carrying, you know, all kinds of jackets with us, like rain jackets. Yeah, the 10 essentials. You know, to be fully honest, we haven't always been the best at having all of those for like shorter hikes. We do for our backpacking trips. We always carry everything with us, but that stuff just stays in the backpack. But we're trying to get better about like maps. We've been using All Trails a lot on our phone. People keep asking us what app I've been referencing on different videos, and we've been using their maps offline, even with their free version, just to kind of navigate ourselves and make sure we're going the right direction. And that's been really helpful, especially if trails are kind of weird at times. But yeah, one of our biggest things is carrying enough water because we've had times where we did not, and that's something that we've learned the hard way. So we always try to make sure we have water, you know, all the things we need to survive. And yeah, bear spray. Bear spray is a big one.
So knowing that I'm going to Idaho in a few weeks and I'm going to be going for a hike up in the Sawtooth Mountains, is there anything you would like recommend I bring besides the obvious stuff like water and food and stuff like that? Is there anything that you've gotten, you're like, well, this has been really handy. This is really trusty.
I don't know if we have any like little, I don't know, little backpacking trinkets. We love our little stove. One thing I would say is bring a rain jacket because it randomly rained on us twice without just like out of nowhere. So that was nice to have. As for like backpacking gear, I don't know if we have anything cool that's worth sharing, really.
Yeah, I was just curious. If I'm going solo, I don't want to leave anything. So
yeah. I mean,
are you going for a hike or like an overnight thing?
No, just a hike.
Yeah.
I saw the one that you did where you went up, I forget what it was called, and you saw like the lakes after, I think it was like 6 months or something.
The Alice Lake hike, the backpacking trip we did.
Yeah. Can I do that in a day or no?
Yeah.
So it's 12 miles round trip. People do it in a day. I forget how long, we said on the video how long it took us to get there. And then getting back took like no time at all. It was way easier. It wasn't even that hard of a hike, to be honest. People do it in a day and it's beautiful. If you can swing the 12 miles in a day, I mean, just make sure you bring enough snacks and food and stuff, but it's beautiful. It's
a pretty good, like, it's an evenly distributed hike kind of a thing. The first 2 miles is pretty flat and you're walking along a big giant lake that you're parked at. And then the second, you're in the woods. And so you got that woodsy environment, but you're going uphill. And then the last 2 miles is, you know, you got the white snow-capped mountains and you're kind of walking more on the rocks and things like that. So it's split up nice and evenly. It'll keep you entertained like the whole time. So
highly recommend it. It was beautiful.
It's definitely doable in a day for sure.
All right. Well, I'm doing it.
To the point we went to,
Yeah, and we did it with packs on. So if you're not backpacking, it'll probably be even easier. We've gotten out of hiking shape a bit. So every hike's been way harder than we thought it would be. Like at least I don't know. We're like, this is harder than we remember it being, or
We're all in quarantine shape. That's the problem. We have no gym. You guys have as good of a gym as I do. I saw the gym in the back of your little van there. You have a better gym than anybody right now.
To be honest, we didn't use it much before we went back to Austin for quarantine. And those weights came in handy when we were in Austin. We used them a lot. My parents even used them. And we've been trying to use them as much as we can on the road. We have like a Planet Fitness membership, which we got partially for the gym use and partially for the shower, just to not use our shower all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Before COVID, we didn't really even use the shower in our van that much because we were always near a gym. We use our shower exclusively now in the van. So we're very happy we have that. And we've been using the weights, so it's all paying off now.
Yeah, I mean, before quarantine, we were kind of feeling bad about toting these weights all over the place and then putting in the bathroom. Like, why do we waste time? We're putting the shower in. We used it 4 or 5 times in the 3 or 4 months, and now we're using them all the time.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So we've talked about some of your favorite places, and I'm super thankful you guys post a lot of videos for me to see. So before you get to the videos, you guys are planning trips. So how do you go about picking a destination? And then you guys do an awesome job on your website talking about how you look for plane tickets or great deals that you find. If you can give our audience some tips and tricks, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, in the van, first of all, we kind of, like we said, we try to chase the cooler weather. And so we have that. And then we also want to visit all the national parks. So we kind of look at the map and see which ones that we haven't been to yet. And we try to plan around that. And then we try to think about like what else is in that state, in that area. Is there a cool city around there that we could check out? A cool, like, do they have an awesome cuisine there that we want to try? Things like that.
For this summer, like our goals were get back to Washington, finally go to Glacier, and spend more time in Idaho, because we'd only really driven through Idaho and we'd wanted to go to the Sawtooth for a long time. So we kind of have like our anchors, I guess, of where we want to be, and then we kind of see like what we can make along our route. And one thing, before the van, because obviously not everyone's in a van and they might have to fly places or drive farther distances, is we did try to like find as much as we could do in like a condensed area. So we went to San Francisco one time, but then we also did like Big Sur and the coast, and then we drove up to I almost call it Yellowstone, Yosemite. We get those two confused. And we did that over 5 days, and it was jam-packed. And our philosophy has always kind of been, especially like with our content, we try to help people who maybe don't have as much time to go do like 2-week-long trips, see as much as they can in a short period of time. If they only can have like 5 days off of work, here's how you can maximize your time in an area. So it's kind of been our philosophy. And in the van, it's a little different because during the week, we're kind of just like awkwardly hanging around areas where we can like work and sleep successfully. But for our weekend adventures, we're trying to find good routes that kind of take us through as much as we can possibly see at once. But, sometimes like the best adventures are even when you're like not expecting them. You just stop in a place and you're like, oh, this is actually way cooler than I thought.
Right.
So yeah, we kind of like figure out our overall route. And then for like flying trips, we do love traveling internationally. We haven't done a ton of it, but that's a huge goal of ours in the next few years, is to kind of do van trips, but then also do longer trips abroad too, and kind of mix those up. And for us, we have like a really long wish list of places we want to go. And then we have a lot of tools we use to like track flights and get alerts on deals. And so you can customize some of those. So like, I want to go, during these months to these general regions, and then get those alerts. For us, we haven't been able to pull the trigger on many flights because we have to drive back to Austin to fly out. And so for us, it requires a lot more planning up front. But before, we were in the van and, we had a little bit more freedom, I guess, with flying. We would always just try to see like, where do we want to go? And then just start tracking things. And whenever we found a good deal, we would try to act on it if we could. We also just love like planning out trips that we have no idea when we'll go on, and like budgeting them out and then just waiting for like a good opportunity to come, I guess.
That's half the fun, honestly, is planning the trip. There's half something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Now,
why we do the blog. I love planning stuff.
I believe you take the same route I do, is having like a few like credit cards, right? For traveling and collecting the points. Out of curiosity, which ones do you use?
We have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which is like our favorite travel one.
That's our number one.
Because of like, you get more miles per dollar, like in redemption. That's not the technical way to say it, but most cards, it's like if you have 100,000 miles at equals $1,000 like in like flight points or credit or whatever. But with the Chase, I think that equals like $1,500. So you get more for your points. Yeah. So we love that one. And we also use the Capital One Venture card. You get like double points on every purchase. So the Chase one, you get 1 point for most purchases, and then like 3 times points for like travel and like dining out. So that one's good for like our travel expenses. And then the Capital One's good for more of like our everyday stuff. We've started getting better at like strategizing more like which card we use for what, to kind of maximize how many points we can get for any purchase. And we also have the Amex Platinum card. We got that earlier this year because we're like, cool, we're gonna like go to places with like the cool like Centurion lounges. Like this is gonna, we love lounges.
Yeah, that's a big thing we've gotten into recently is that lounge access. It's nice.
We're like, oh, we hear these like the best lounges. Like we'll get this card, we'll get like 60,000 miles for like signing up. It's a really expensive card though, and COVID happened and we really haven't been able to take advantage of it at all. So we also have the Alaska Airlines one. If you live in like Seattle or Portland, that's a really great card because you get a companion fare every year for like $100. So, and then Southwest is good for a lot of places in the US. We used to have that one. We don't anymore, but we try to like limit how many we have, but we had that one for a while. And it was great when we lived in Austin. We even earned like the free companion fare for an entire year.
Oh, wow.
So I flew for free anytime he flew, and it was awesome.
That's amazing.
The biggest tip on these travel credit cards, though, is kind of treat it like a debit card. Pay the balance off every month, because if you accrue that interest fee, which is usually like 20-something%, it's not worth it after.
Yeah, we try to make that very clear. We don't want people to think we're just like opening up all these cards and like spending all this money. Like we treat them like a debit card. We pay them off in full every month. That way we actually get to like enjoy the rewards, not be like, oh, well, we owe all this money on them and we have, I guess we can go on a free flight, but now we have all this like credit card debt. So
yeah, that's, the interest rates are no joke. I'm definitely familiar. So I know, Adam, you had said that you were a huge fan of traveling solo. Kathryn, I don't know if you ever travel solo, but with me,
I was not a huge fan, or that I am.
You weren't, right? Because you said you went to Australia. So
sorry, I misheard you.
No, my question would be, knowing that I'm going to Idaho solo, there's a lot of listeners that are probably like, I'd love to travel, but I don't have anybody to travel with. Do you have any places that you've been to you could recommend for solo travelers where they would still feel pretty safe?
So I've traveled solo for work quite a bit, both, I guess, domestically and internationally. And I think like one thing that's, because I'm not the biggest fan of solo travel either, I guess because I just have this like awesome built-in travel buddy. It's made like, I don't hate it, but like I wish he was with me. Like I'm like, I wish we could experience this together. That's kind of my thing. But I think one thing that's been really cool for me when traveling, and this has usually been my coworkers, but like kind of like meeting people along the way and having people to experience stuff with. Like I know when people travel abroad, they sometimes make friends at like hostels and stuff. And I know that kind of makes them feel like less like they're lonely. But I think one thing that's kind of helped us and make solo travel easier is visiting places that are not crazy different than the US or as big of a culture shock.
Yeah, that's my tip. If you're wanting to travel and get into travel, I would go somewhere that to try it out, to go somewhere that is not a huge shock. I would maybe try to stick with the same language that and something that has sort of a similar culture. Like for me, like going to Australia was great. Like I loved it there, but I just wish somebody was there with me. And so, yeah, I mean,
that way you're not like overwhelming yourself too much.
Yeah. You can like figure out how to fly there, how to get through the airport and all that. Figure out like how to places to find, to do things to do, where to stay, stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think,
go ahead. So basically, if you're kind of traveling solo but you're unsure, take baby steps. Don't go take a massive trip.
Yeah.
Maybe go to a national park. We've never felt unsafe at a national park. I mean, there's, sometimes cities can be a little like unsafe at night and things like that. But for us, like, especially like going back to Kona, for example, like we always feel the safest leaving her in the van at a national park. Like people aren't breaking into cars as much there. Like it just feels safer. There's a lot of people around. So I'd say like, trying a national park or maybe visiting, a city that you maybe visited in the past with other people and you feel comfortable there, or going somewhere that's generally safe. researching, safe places to stay and all of that, even if you have to pay a little bit more, just to make sure, you feel comfortable.
I would also say maybe try to do a variety of things while you're there too. Don't just stay downtown in the big city. Try to do something in nature or things like that. A variety of things so that you can figure out what you do and don't like.
By yourself, yeah.
By yourself, yeah.
Yeah, that's great advice, because I do have a lot of friends and I know a lot of people that are just like, I just don't like traveling solo. And and then before you know it, years go by and they haven't gone anywhere. And it's like, just get out there and do it. You'll see if you like it. So that's really good advice.
And one thing that we were supposed to do in Peru, and it was actually our first time doing it, as like a group trip. So we were going to be partnering with a company who's like putting on like a tour, like a 2-week thing around Peru. And we were going to be with people the whole time, which one was going to be great because they were going to take some of the planning off of our plate. Like we had like things we were going to do. They were knowledgeable in the area and all of that. And there were also going to be people who like to travel there too. So we'd be making some friends along the way. So that's something I know that I know some solo female travelers who they've gone, to Asia or like New Zealand or Australia, and they've, gone on like day trips or like on little tours with other people to kind of get that social interaction and, feel more comfortable. And then you can make friends that you can kind of meet up with in future travels or even on that trip. Sometimes it's like you really want to be a solo traveler, but then I think there's people who, like you were saying, like they want to do stuff, but they don't want to go alone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that joining some sort of group activity or trip can kind of help
sure.
You make friends that are like-minded like you and want to experience the same things.
Yeah, that's definitely some great advice. Now, speaking of advice, and we got to wrap this up somewhat soon, is there any advice you would give to somebody who's looking at your website, your Instagram page, saying, that's the life I want?
Oh man, so much. It's so hard to put into words. I mean, I guess for us, like one of our biggest things that we try to express, we kind of said this earlier, is if you want to travel more, if that's your goal, don't feel like you have to go abroad or do these crazy trips. Like we spent pretty much the 3 years we lived in Seattle, mostly just traveling around the Pacific Northwest and stuff that was kind of in our backyard. So we want people to like rethink what travel means in a sense. Like it doesn't have to be fancy hotels or even Airbnbs. You can go camping. Like that's really cheap. So if you feel like I want to go travel more, but like, how can I afford it? Sometimes you just have to get like a little creative. Like we slept in the back of our SUV sometimes on trips. We just like blew up little like sleeping pads and slept in the back of it to save money. And we like did long day trips to not have to pay for an Airbnb. So we just want to, I guess, stress to people that travel doesn't have to be super exotic or crazy expensive. You can go places close by. You can go camping. You can, do stuff for like national parks. If you have the national park pass for $80 a year, you basically, that pays for itself super fast. And that can be a really affordable adventure. So I think that's like one piece of advice. If you want to travel more, just try to rethink of like what travel is. It doesn't have to be like going to Europe and spending thousands of dollars on a plane ticket.
Yeah, I think also, if someone's thinking about doing this anyways, you're probably leaning this way anyways, but it's kind of a shifting in your priorities maybe, and sacrificing some things. So it's kind of what we kind of live by is basically like experience over things. Like we don't buy clothes all the time. We don't eat out very often. We try to only eat out on vlogs. So thinking about your finances and what you can kind of cut out and sacrifice that you can put towards your traveling. So
little things add up, like whether it's financially, like cutting out that Starbucks every other day, or you might not think like, oh, that's $10 a week or whatever, but that adds up. And one thing that's really like, I guess on a non-financial perspective, like little decisions add up too. Mm-hmm. So just like making little shifts in like how you do things or like your mindset on stuff can make a huge impact. Us just, I don't know, like just changing like how we like perceive travel or even like how much it costs. Getting kind of repetitive here, but yeah, I think just little decisions can add up to make a bigger impact. So if something seems really far-fetched, sometimes it helps to like break it down to like little actions you can take that will help you achieve that goal.
Yeah.
And for van life, van life is a little harder because you have to like buy a van and like figure out how to convert it and stuff. But, for us, like just researching like crazy and like figuring out what's the right fit for you. Like, what do you actually need in your van? Can you get by with something cheaper? If anyone wants to enter van life, there's a lot of things to consider and that can be really overwhelming. But there are a lot of helpful videos out there that can kind of help break that down.
Yeah, I mean, however you want to travel and whatever kind of lifestyle you want to be or follow, like there's someone out there that's doing it right now. So do your research and try to find all those people and reach out to them if you can. I mean, if there's someone out there that wants to do kind of what we're doing, I mean, reach out to us, say something. We respond to everything, honestly. At this
You
point.
actually do. I'm living proof.
Yeah. I don't know how sustainable it'll be, I mean, down the road or whatever, but we'll make every effort to respond to everything. So, I mean, just try to ask. I mean, the classic thing is where there's a will, there's a way. There's a way to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, we'll have people reach out to us like, I want to travel in a van like you, but I don't have a remote job. Like, how did you get a remote job? And so I usually send them like, there's like this photo I saw on Twitter one time of a bunch of remote companies. And I'm like, here's some good ones to check out. Like, here's some websites to check out. You know, not everyone can have a remote job. It kind of depends on what you do. But, you know, there could be other ways you could make money remotely that using your skill set. So yeah, it's kind of like breaking down like, well, here's what I want to achieve. Here are all the things I need to change to make it happen, and then figuring out kind of what to do from there. Yeah, that's kind of what we did.
Yeah, and really thinking about and realizing, like, do I want to make these changes and sacrifices to actually do it? Because sometimes it's not the most fun to cut whatever your expensive hobby is out maybe for a little bit to be able to do this. And you gotta, if you want to do something, you gotta figure out how you're gonna do it, and then make the decision to do it.
And stick with it when it's hard.
Yeah, I've definitely, if I've taken one thing from this interview, it's knowing that, yes, your life looks glorious. It is glorious in many ways, but there's also a lot of work that goes out behind the scenes. You've made a lot of sacrifices in order to get this. And that's really good for people to hear. It's not just all fun and games and going to great places and taking photos.
Yeah, and we're not trying to say our life is hard or anything, but
we do have it very good. We're very thankful.
For sure. Yeah. We're thankful for everything, but it's
not as easy as it may look.
Yeah.
And so I'll let you go here in just a moment, but I had a few fun questions I think your audience might be interested in. So, Kathryn, I know you are a big fan of rap. Adam doesn't seem to be. From the website, you seem to be more rock. Who controls the radio in the van?
Adam.
I do. And actually, a lot of rap comes up on there. Right now, I'm big on Post Malone.
We're on a very big
yeah.
I like a lot of like the rap I listened to in middle school or like early high school,
like that mid-2000s,
like Ludacris.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I love that too. Yeah, we have the same interest in that too.
Well, but I will say, like, sometimes if we're driving really like late and we're just trying to stay awake, I'll turn on like all those like really dirty, like not old school, but like middle school,
Yin
like
oh yeah, yin yang.
And I just like put on a concert, and sometimes he's like super not into it, but I'm really into it, and I entertain myself.
That's awesome.
He controls like podcasts and music because typically I'm working, so I'm like kind of not really paying attention, but. I like most of the stuff he puts on.
All right. Okay. So I'm super interested in this one. The best grocery store chain you have been to on your road trips?
You know, the one we frequent the most right now, especially in this area, is Safeway. It's okay, whatever. But one of our like secret delights or guilty pleasures, I guess, is like
what is he gonna say?
No, you know what I'm gonna say. In these little towns, they have like. Say grocery stores, right?
Yeah.
So in these little towns, they have like sometimes like specific, awesome, like cute, like Whole Food type, like really nice looking grocery stores. Like there's that Lucky brand or whatever.
Lucky Market, and then
what's
that one
in Missoula?
Jackson Grocer in Jackson, Wyoming.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say HEB right off the bat. I was about to like.
I mean, that's the king of all of them if you're going with chains.
Yeah, HEB in Texas.
Yeah, that crushes everybody. But.
Hands down.
I don't know. Wegmans might take the cake.
I don't know. I don't know if we've been there. We've been to a lot of chains.
Is that in your area? Or?
So Wegmans originates in upstate New York, and it's kind of branching down the East Coast. So when you get over here, you have to go to a Wegmans. It'll blow you away. I promise.
Okay. Right. We went to a really great Fry's in Arizona. Fry's is what I went to in Arizona.
Okay.
It was like a mega one. It literally looked just like HEB on the inside. We're very... Any Texan knows HEB is the best, but we'll see about Wegmans.
Well, Wegmans is awesome. See, I was curious about that because one of the first things I do when I land or rent a car is I go to the grocery store and just pack up for snacks and water bottles and stuff like that. So I'm always curious about that.
It's fun to check out different grocery stores. We've been to some really some good ones, and we've been to some.
Somewhere interesting, right?
Yeah.
So speaking of grocery stores, best travel snack for the road.
Oh, chips and salt. Oh, that's not really good to eat on the road, I guess. We eat a lot of chips and salsa.
Chips and
Yeah.
salsa.
We 2 days in a row this week. We crushed a whole bag.
Yeah. Something I lean on sometimes when we're in a pinch. It's easy. Me and Kona like it. The same is chicharrones.
What's that?
It's like fried pork skin, basically. They're just like
nice.
really like crunchy and
They're good. They just smell real
they smell
bad.
really bad. But you can get like hot and spicy ones or like lime flavored ones. HEB has some nice different flavors.
I got to go to this place.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
We tend to buy a lot of like RX bars and Lara
Yeah,
bars and
yeah.
bars and stuff too.
Yeah.
This one might be a tough one to answer, but I'm going to ask anyways. Your best photo was taken where?
Best photo? Like together?
Anything you've taken?
Whatever, not necessarily together or whatever, just the best photo. Like, wow, that photo is amazing. You can even say 2 or 3 places if you
I
need
have
to.
2 that came to mind. One is a recent one. So I'd say for the longest time, I took this photo at Yosemite. It's like it's like the tunnel view kind of. So when you're driving into Yosemite, you go through like a tunnel and there's that tunnel view overlook. I want to say it was even right before the tunnel view. So as we kind of mentioned, it was a little smoky when we were there. So it had this like cool haziness, it was a sunrise. And I think sunrises and sunsets during wildfires are some of the coolest. Like the haze just adds something to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the one positive thing, I guess, about the fire. And it was like the most epic sunrise ever. And it's a really cool photo of the Yosemite Valley. It's on our website, and it's been like my phone, like my like, not my like lock screen, but like the one you get
Your
into
home
the
screen.
phone.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that one forever. But then a couple weeks ago, we were at Mount Rainier, and we had a pretty awesome hike up to this fire lookout. And I took like a really cool, like zoomed in photo of Mount Rainier. And I was like, this might be the best photo I've ever taken. And I'm framing it whenever we have a house. So I'm going to go with that one too.
Awesome. And you have a photo background, am I correct? A photography background?
Yeah, I had a wedding. Well, I did wedding photography and like senior photos and stuff a bit in Austin. I've been doing just photos for fun for a really long time.
So yeah, so coming from somebody who actually knows how to use a camera, that says a lot for when you pick out your favorite photos.
I mean, yeah.
So
I'm like, it's okay. But those ones like really stand out to me. Like, I think this is actually like, I should sell this one as a stock photo.
you probably could. So one last one. Have you been recognized yet?
Yes.
Yeah, a couple times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I can only think of 2 times.
One was at
Trader
the
Joe's
Tetons.
and the Tetons.
Yeah. So the first one, the first time, you were by yourself, but we were at the Trader Joe's in our neighborhood, and she was checking out buying something. I'm telling this secondhand, but the girl was like, "Are you?"
And I was like, "Yes."
Like she cut her off.
That's awesome.
Well, it was like,
yeah, that was the first time like we were.
Yeah, she was working at Trader Joe's, and she, I guess, followed our Instagram and had recognized me, and I was just like, "This is the coolest thing that's ever happened."
Yeah.
And then I think the only other time was at Grand Tetons.
Yeah.
We were like outside the visitor center. We were about to film something, and I see these people coming up behind us, and I was like, I thought maybe they would ask like, "Oh, what's the camera for?" Because people do ask that a lot. They're like, "Oh, what are you filming?" But they're like, "Are you Adventures of A+K?" And I was like,
"That's awesome."
God, yes, we are. And I think, to be honest, like I freak out way more than they would ever freak out. I mean, we're just like 2 weirdos that live in a van, but like I get so excited to meet people in real life, and I think that's the only times that people have come and said hi. I mean, we would love
awesome,
it. People
though.
say,
It's fun. I mean, I wish more people would.
It's a cool feeling because
if they recognize it.
You know, we see comments, we get messages, like we see like the people online, but to like actually meet people in person who have seen our stuff, like it just makes it way more cool and real. Like, I don't know. And like we've made a lot of online friends from doing all of this and stuff. And we talk to people a lot that we've met online. We've never met them in person. So it just makes it way more fun to like know that there's real people there, not just the avatars online, I guess.
It gives it somewhat more of a purpose too.
Yeah. I mean, for us, like it's all about, like growing our channel and like seeing numbers go up. Like that's cool. But like we always say quality over quantity. Like we'd much rather have like a smaller following, but have them be like real people who actually care than like a huge following and have people like be like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
For us, like we love getting to make those connections. And that's why I respond to every comment, email, anything, message I can, because we like want to get to know people and make those connections. Like that's what it's about. It's like we're here to help people travel. Like we don't care about that other stuff.
I can honestly say I appreciate it more than you know. Not just taking the time to do this, but obviously responding to my emails, giving me tips on Idaho, and I'm going to watch those videos again. I'm going to plan my trip to the smallest details, thanks to you guys. And
we need New York tips too.
I'll be more than happy with New York, or if you're ever in the Raleigh, North Carolina area, let me know.
We want to go back there. We really enjoyed it, and we were there at the wrong time, like coming out of winter type
and then
deal.
COVID,
we want to see it, full blown. So
I'll be more than happy to meet up with you guys and show you around. Yeah. So obviously you guys have influenced me. How can the audience get to you guys, see you guys online, so you can influence more people?
Yeah, everything's adventuresofa+k.com.
Plus is spelled out.
Plus is spelled out. So a lot of people think it's an Adventures of a Plus, which is
it's not
okay.
It.
It's not it. Adventuresofa+k.com. Adventures of A+K on
everything.
Instagram. Really
YouTube.
everything.
We have a Facebook page that we kind of just started more recently, but we mostly just share like videos and stuff on.
Yep.
We have a Patreon page that we started a while back that's been growing like all of a sudden, and that's been really cool. That's kind of like a more exclusive community of people who like support our channel, and we make special vlogs just for them, and they get to see vlogs early sometimes. They get postcards and stuff, but everything's Adventures of A+K, but plus is spelled out.
And it's well worth no plus. It's well worth the visit, honestly. Like you guys do a hell of a job with your videos. They're super enjoyable. Like the music you choose, the energy and the positivity you come out with. You just seem so relatable, friendly, which is the main reason I reached out to you guys. And it's been a joy talking with you guys. So
we're glad you like music. That's the hardest part.
Oh yeah, I know. And it's all royalty free and stuff like that too, right?
Oh.
So we'll wrap this up on that note. I've had a joy talking with you guys. I really hope this is one of honestly many, and I hope to keep in touch with you guys. I'll send you pictures. I'll send you pictures from Idaho.
Yes, please do. That'd be awesome.
Will do. And so I'll catch you next time on the Pursuit of Happiness podcast. Thank you guys.
Thank you. It was a blast.
Thank you. And I'll pause it right here.